Yeah, am I good to speak? Okay. Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Omar, one of the directors of PR for IEEE TD, and I just wanted to introduce our friends from TI, Alex and Tarek, and they're going to be giving us some insight today on what it's like in the day of life of a TI engineer.
Perfect. Thank you much, Omar. Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging around. And we had a little bit later start than we were expecting, but I think it'll be a good conversation. Please use this time to think about thoughts, questions you might have. If you can see the sign-in QR code, use that to sign in. I think Jenna may have sent it out already. Like Omar said, my name is Alex Siegler. I'll be one half of the presentation team today, and I'll let Tarek introduce himself.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, I'm Tarek, and I'm also from TI. I've been out there for a year now, and yeah, looking forward to chat with you guys.
Okay, we'll go ahead and kick things off. Just a little peek inside one of our labs and a quick bio slide. So like I said, my name is Alex Siegler. I am the Worldwide Raytheon Account Manager for TI. I sit just down the road from you guys in Dallas, Texas, on one of our two headquarters we have at LBJ in Central. But that does not mean I only have the Raytheon areas here. So I have them all the way from El Segundo, which is in LA, California, all the way to the East Coast in Boston, overseas in the UK and Australia. That is my day in, day out. I am maybe less technical than you're going to hear from Tarek, but I have a what's called a technical sales engineering role where I mix my EE background and a little bit of business, and I get to call on one of our major defense contractors, which is a lot of fun. The picture on the left shows my family. That's my wife and my 1-year-old. If you hear crying in the background, that is not me, that is him. I lived, like I said, in Los Angeles on the West Coast for 5 years with TI. They just moved me back about 2 years ago. I'm a big soccer fan. A little bit disappointed with the US's opening draws for the World Cup qualifying, but very excited about Chelsea's Champions League second title. Happy there. And with that, I'll hand it over to Tarek.
Thanks, Alex. So for my background, I'm a software engineer at TI, and I'm also in the Dallas area. And I've been about TI for about a year now. I also interned there prior, so it was a nice smooth transition. And I know what you guys are all going through, trying to get an internship and then next steps full time. And I also enjoy traveling and fitness. This is one of my trips, and be careful where you step, because I'm also taking a picture of poison ivy on my feet. So watch where you step next time. But yeah, that's me.
Learning about TI in the wilderness. All right, guys, here's a high-level view of our company. So in the most recent full year, 2020, you can see a pretty heavy analog focus. That is very intentional. TI is an analog-heavy company. You do see some embedded there as well. We are about, you see like 90-10-ish on our analog. That other 1 billion is where all of your calculators come from. So TI, even though we are known as the calculator company, most of our business is dealing with customers like Raytheon, the Dells of the world. All the guys that have a power button is my favorite way to introduce my job. Is if your utility or car has a power button, we likely have some components inside of it. We are right now in a pretty heavy industrial automotive phase. It's a great time to be focusing on automotive. A good friend of mine who graduated one of our rotation programs was calling on Tesla for the last 5 or 6 or 7 years. So a big focus on TIs in the industrial automotive space. My account, Raytheon, is actually technically the industrial space. So a good wide breadth. And a good thing that I like to tout about TI is that if you go to a Raytheon or a Tesla and work there, you get to be really, really involved in that one product. But as the Raytheon account manager, for instance, I get to have conversations throughout the day on a guy who's working on a radar, one guy who's working on an active laser seeker front end for a new missile GPS attachment, get to talk to the guys who are working on military aircraft. So you see across the TI spectrum here, you kind of get to be involved in everything, which is, I think, a big benefit to being a TI employee, is that you don't have to be so narrowly focused on one single thing. Some of the, I think they're pretty amazing facts, is we have over 100,000 customers and 80,000 products, and we have tens of billions of chips worldwide. We actually have 4 fabs here in the Dallas area, and we're building a 5th. So we have 14 sites worldwide, but 5 are here in Dallas. And you can also see our employee breakdown in the top right. I don't like to brag too much about the awards, but we do have some trophies there on the right. They picked these 3. It tends to be a well-recognized company. I think people tend to stay here for a little bit longer than other places. I don't know, why that necessarily is. I think it's great that people are kind of going job to job nowadays. You kind of go where you're passionate. I do see many people here for 20, 25, 30 years, which is, I think, testament to the company. And with that, I'll hand it up to Tark.
Yeah, and just to also get a deeper dive into what TI is like, what we accomplished, and the other products we branched out to, here's a little video to give you a bit deeper insight into it.
At Texas Instruments, our passion is to create a better world by making electronics more affordable through semiconductors. As the building blocks of modern electronics, our semiconductor technologies help customers develop solutions to the world's toughest challenges, enabling smart medical devices, automated factories, more efficient appliances, and making vehicle electrification possible. Each electronic device you interact with could have tens, hundreds, or even thousands of chips inside, translating signals from the physical universe into digital data and back again, adding intelligence and new functionality to things we use every day. And all of this is possible because companies like TI have been engineering progress for decades. The vacuum tube was once at the heart of all electronics. For the first time, entertainment and information could be transmitted and received in real time. In 1954, TI engineer Gordon Teal introduced the world's first commercial silicon transistor. Electronics became personal and could be held in your hand, and things never before imagined were possible. 4 years later, in 1958, TI engineer Jack Kilby combined multiple transistors onto a single piece of semiconducting material to create the world's first integrated circuit. The chip that Jack built changed the world forever. Radar systems were made more reliable. Spacecraft were built with smaller, lighter, more dependable components. Computing power that once cost millions became more powerful, affordable, and could fit in your pocket. Through decades of progress, our innovations continued to make electronics more accessible to more people. And today, semiconductors are so affordable that they're being added to everything. Home automation makes the places we live more convenient, energy efficient, and safe. Portable medical devices monitor and transmit vital health data in real time. Cars equipped with sensing technology make driving safer than ever before. Industrial robotics make factories safer and increase productivity. Entire cities are smarter, more efficient, and more connected. Where we were once limited by technology, we are now limited only by imagination. At TI, our passion is to create a better world by making electronics more affordable through semiconductors. We think of it as engineering progress. We've been doing it for decades. We continue today, and we can't wait for tomorrow.
All right, Tark.
Yeah. So basically, to sum up what you saw is that the great part about working with TI is that our products are pretty much a great niche of various applications, different industries, different products. So you have a lot of breadth with TI by starting here. Touch a lot of different scenarios, like you saw automotive, industrial, you also saw medical and fitness, and even manufacturing as well. So on the next slide, we'll get, let me share my screen.
Tark, I can keep sharing mine if you want to just do it this way.
Okay, yeah, that works. So basically going over the video, our breadth with Tesla and other automotive companies getting into the smart electronics field with smart cars, making our lives easier with fitness equipment, medical devices, improving speed, reliability, throughput with different wearable technology. And you'll even see some products even help with smart home devices, your Alexas, your Google Homes, etc. So just going back to the main idea is that working at TI lets you experience many different products. So even when you're at TI, you can branch out into various different fields, very specific categories, but you get all that option just by being at TI. So moving forward, this slide also shows you the different fields we also cover. I think there's a slight lag in the PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll go next.
Oh, sorry, can you go back one slide back?
Yep.
Yeah, so we also touch communication, so your Zigbee, your Bluetooth, your radar, your RF, and just all these various industries could be a company of its own, but TI includes them all in itself. We're really powering the analog and embedded semiconductor chips, those kind of markets to make your products smarter, safer, more connected, and energy efficient. Really, there's a lot you can do at TI, and this is just a small taste of it. We get even deeper, narrower, even broader, and more generalized as well. Yeah, so moving forward, this kind of image kind of shows you how we accept various different engineering and business and field roles and how everything kind of fits in together. You need your system test engineer, your application engineer, and your product marketing engineer to kind of figure out which products on the market to aim for, to compete for, to prioritize. You need your packaging and processing engineer to start the automated process, your building and your manufacturing. You touch with your software and your analog and your digital IC designers to create the chips and software to make the products function, to make them faster, to make them meet various requirements and specifications, like your throughput, like your speed, like your range. And you also have your field sale teams, your business roles, negotiating, asking, competing with companies to prioritize our products versus other competitor products. We also have our test engineers, our validation engineers to make sure our products are 100% fail-proof, ready for the outside world, ready to start making people's lives easier and debug-proof. And you also have our quality engineers to reassess the products a year or two down the line to make sure our standards are still held up, and also for updates, improvements, and feature upgrades. And our field applications, product marketing, and technical sales to reevaluate the process, see where we can improve, where we need to change, and where the market's heading to next. So really, all these different roles where we offer internships and full-time position for all work together to create and help TI function in a nice, coordinating manner. So we're really looking for peers like yourself to help fill in these roles as TI grows, becomes bigger and better. So next, I want to go into some of the aspects that TI looks for on the next slide. These are 5 core values that we really endorse at TI: trustworthiness, inclusive, innovativeness, competitive, and results-oriented. We saw in the video that Mr. Kilby was what kind of sparked TI into the integrated circuit market and further IC design. His innovativeness is what helped drive TI. And we also have a lot of opportunities for new hires, full-timers, interns to really express their interest, innovate, and create new ideas on their own. And also be competitive with your peers in the market and see where you can go. So TI really doesn't hold you back in your creative thinking. Being inclusive and trustworthy with your companions, having good collaborative skills with your teammates, being able to communicate with your manager and your colleagues, seeing where a project is heading a different direction than you think. Just being able to speak out is also really great skills to have. And lastly, being result-oriented, being able to document your work, publish your work, and sharing your work with your teammates and your manager, and seeing where it can go just by being a part of this small process that goes into very big, elaborate things. So really, there's a lot that you can do at TI, and just adding these 5 values to your skill set, your conversations, and your daily life can help improve, not just as a TI engineer, but as an engineer, as a sales, as a manager, as a business in general. So yeah, please keep these in mind, and they can go a long way for you. And I'll hand it back to Alex.
Great, thanks, Tarek. All right, you said the slides were a little bit delayed, so I'm going to pause a second or two every time I change a slide to make sure you guys are looking at what I'm looking at. And the slide I'm showing right now is really about just the TI embracing the culture, and we talked about the 5 core values, about how we direct and guide our business and what we expect all of our employees to embody and really embrace. And the inclusive culture is just as important as all of that. So within, I think the next slide shows it, within TI, we have a number of social, cultural clubs or organizations, because we have 30,000 employees and really quite a few in Dallas itself. We have a couple major hubs, but in the corporate area here in Dallas, Texas, we have because of the number of engineers we have, employees we have, we're able to put together quite a good community, regardless of whether you're trying to tie together somebody who maybe is in a different role but has similar interests. This specific slide's about our culture and the LGBTQ community, and it's something we are embracing as a company. It's something I think we're very aware of and trying to get ahead of. And in the Dallas area, I know that Texas is has some of the state ideologies that maybe are different than certain areas of the country, but TI I think does a really good job of embracing this inside our company. And I do apologize for the dog barking in the background if you can hear that. She's just as supportive of the TI as I am. So this next slide kind of just shows visually what I was just talking about. Going around the circle, you'll see Veterans Initiative, you'll see Black Employee Initiatives, different areas of the country with Korea, India, China. Again, talking about the TI Pride up there. Another one that you see in the kind of the top left, looking at 10 o'clock, is the New Employee Initiative. And this is something that for the first year, because you're new to the company, because some roles, some people have a harder time connecting with new employees, new people, we do have organized events, organized trainings, lectures that you can go to as a new employee to meet your colleagues, meet your peers, and just kind of get used to your new role as a full-time employee after college. Taking this outside of the company and now working more with the community, a couple of things listed here. Personally, I only have experience with the education and human services. The arts, I am very much not a dancer, so this is great for giving an example of the options you have for different types of employee and what their areas of interest are. But we do a volunteer with a local middle school. We do STEM. We do Society of Women Engineers. Really, we are very pointed in how we take the success of the local TI company and try to share that with the community outside of our walls. I've never had a problem with my manager letting me take a half day to go to volunteer. I went and did the mayor's back to school backpack drop off this year. Didn't have to take vacation time, anything like that. We, as a company, I have never found anybody who is going to say, you need to stay here and work and not go donate time at a food shelter or anything along those lines. So really, the company does embrace. They were a charter member of United Way in the area for Dallas. And as you see here in the bottom, we have a matching gifts program. So TI will donate either dollar for dollar matches to a certain limit, but they'll also take volunteer hours and they'll donate money to the organization to match your volunteer hours. Just a couple specific examples for all of these. And this is more talking about you as an employee. So we covered our core values, we covered our inclusive atmosphere, we covered our extracurriculars, our kind of community involvement. This is specifically talking about you as an employee and the benefits TI can bring to you. So the top row kind of goes through a couple different areas with salary benefits. Profit sharing is a term that's used at multiple companies, but for TI, it means that when we hit a specific target for profit from operations, which is basically how much profit we're taking for each dollar spent, we have certain goals. If we hit certain targets throughout the year, we get a certain percentage of our salary as a one-time bonus at the beginning of the year. So for the last, I believe it's 4 years, we've been able to max that out. So we got a one-time bonus at the beginning of the year that was worth 20% of our annual salary. It's not going to be that forever, but TI is a very aware, very financially strong company that is able to do this. The next one over is the employee stock purchase plan, and this is also called profit sharing at some companies. So I want to make sure they're separate here. So this is something that every quarter you can buy TI stock at a discount. I believe it's 15%. This is a pretty common thing that companies have. Sometimes they call it profit sharing, sometimes they call it stock purchase plan. We do have both of those here at TI. And this is something you're welcome to take advantage of. You can buy it that day and sell it the same day and net an immediate profit. There's some short-term gains tax there, but just another kind of benefit for TI. The outside of the financials, the coaching from experienced leaders is something that I think is very important. The new employee initiative that I spoke about earlier, part of that is a lecture series where you can go and have either roundtables or listen to some of our senior executives talk about their experience. So not just the executive level, but inside your group, you'll have twice a year, 4 times a year, or once a year, whatever you prefer, annual one-on-one coaching with an individual development plan that helps you grow, not just as a person in your current role, but you're supposed to look 1, 5, 10 years ahead, picture where you want to be, and start projects and development in that line to get you where you want to go. One thing to mention here that I probably should have mentioned earlier. So TI has 2 paths for growth and development. So the traditional path people think about is you start as an individual contributor, you do your time, you become a manager, you have direct reports. TI realizes that that isn't what everybody necessarily wants. So we have a separate ladder, it's called our technical ladder, where you can grow and attain higher job grades, ranks, however you want to say that, title within the company. But while you're doing that, you don't have to take on direct reports if you don't want to. So we realize that there's really a couple different types of people who want to grow. They either want to become a manager of a team, or they want to grow with themselves and grow their technical capabilities, but not necessarily manage a team. They're very happy being an individual contributor. So coaching from your leaders can take you up either of those paths, or if you're happy in your role and you want to just kind of keep growing your own talents, you can do that too. I have a colleague who's been doing the same thing for 20 years. He's very good at his job. He's able to share a lot of experience that I wouldn't know. So there's a lot of different paths for growth. Going to the bottom row here, so free training, e-learning, I think that's it's what you make of it, right? So personally, we have a TI thing is called Degreed, where it pulls trainings from LinkedIn Learning, from third parties that we purchase material from, some on-site trainings, and you can go into there, and if you want to do a better job public speaking, you have a whole host of options there. But if you also want to better yourself financially and maybe learn some stuff, they'll have you talk to somebody at Fidelity and have some one-on-one coaching there. So all of this is free to your employees. We just encourage you to take use of it, right? It's something that unless you actively plan time around that, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. TI has a 401k matching plan. I spoke about the financial planning resources as well there. I think our relocation benefits are personally, they were great for me. But like I said, they moved me out to Los Angeles for 5 years. I got to kind of experience a different area. I grew up in Dallas. I graduated from UT Dallas in 2013. So when I went through my rotation program, I asked them to send me literally anywhere else, and they were great about that. But then when I had my son, they were very cooperative and moved me back here to Dallas where I have family. So it was very understanding. You know, it was a great conversation I had with my manager. And then we also have the paid time off plus holidays. We actually just added 2 more holidays this next year. So we'll have, I think it's 11 holidays, and then a paid time off that is in accordance with your years at TI. Health insurance is second to none. My wife actually is in recruiting, so she sees a bunch of the local companies' health insurance coverages, and she's always amazed with the coverage that TI gives us here. Next, we'll go through some careers. So I think this is through IEEE, obviously. So a lot of these are engineering degrees. If you have friends, buddies, roommates that are outside of engineering, we obviously have non-engineering roles as well. But because it's being hosted by IEEE, wanted to have some engineering focus. We do require a 3.0 or higher. If you have something that's under 3.0, it's it's not saying you're a bad student, but we want you to get across that border and come to work with us and bring that drive. Listed a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to go line by line unless there are questions about specific roles that you can have with these degrees. Careers.ti.com also has some brochures that you can use to line up what degrees go with what roles at TI. That is not a 100%, we will not consider you if you don't have this background. That is a 98% of our applicants and new hires tend to have that background. But if you're very passionate about something and you want to be a software engineer like Tarek, but you don't have the prescribed background, it's worth a conversation. This is, I think, one of the strengths of TI, specifically the company compared to some of our competitors. The rotation program is different for all of these. It's not going to be the exact same, but basically what it is we take a new college graduate, undergrad, graduate, master's, and then we take you through a couple different rotations that give you access and visibility into the different aspects of the role that you'll be hired for. So personally, I was a field applications and technical sales engineer. If you can see my mouse, it's in the bottom right, like the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock position. So what that meant for me is that when I finish this rotation program, I'm going to be an account manager or a technical sales engineer. So that was 3 different roles, 3 months each in my rotation program. Because as a newly deployed TSR, which is the acronym, TI loves acronyms, you're going to have to be responsible for managing the account direction, the business, and the technical development of a company. I had a rotation in a sales office to get the account direction experience. I had a rotation in a marketing role to understand the technology direction inside TI. And then I had a rotation in the business services to understand kind of what goes on behind the scenes. So fast forward a year, when I'm having a conversation with one of my colleagues at TI about a new part that I want to design in at my customer, I understand why they're making their decisions, what matters to them, and what's going to matter ultimately with that at the customer as well. I can only speak to my experience with the fast rotation program, but we do have rotation programs for all of these. I know that some are longer, some are shorter. It really does a good job of giving you visibility, insight, a ramp, and a training program so you can hit the ground running after you get in your final role. I know a lot of our other companies in this market don't have that. And I know that because they tend to try to hire you away from TI after you finish your training because they want to take advantage of TI's training program. So I'll open up for questions. If you guys have anything, Jenna, if anything's come in, we can address it now. And Tarek, I also want to open up for you. I did go through kind of quickly, so I want to make sure that you want to add to anything I missed.
Yeah, if you can go back 2 slides to the we're looking for page.
Yep.
Yeah, this one. So I also wanted to add, just from a technical background, that this list right here isn't an exhaustive list. I know some colleges do different naming conventions for their majors. So if you don't see software engineering, but you can still apply. So any really technical engineering major can apply. So this is not an exhaustive list. And from an internship perspective, the rotation program is for full-time new hires, but from an internship perspective, you can expect for a technical internship, what I did was a software engineer intern, where you'll be tasked with a pretty large overarching project that will span your 12 or 14 weeks of your internship. You'll be paired with a buddy, another TI employee, like myself or Alex, where he'll help you break that project into smaller milestones, maybe week milestones or bi-weekly milestones, where you can digest it into smaller bites, have smaller accomplishments that build up to this large overarching project that you'll be able to demo, be able to show your different managers at the end. And this project is what TI offers unique to other companies, that this project is going to go on to be continued to use even after you leave. It's not a project just to pass time. We continue to use this project. We continue to build. You help set the foundation for us to upgrade, to improve, and to use in our everyday lives. So your work is important and treasured work at TI, and be able to be something that you can demo and show to others.
Yeah, it's a great point. I should have mentioned that. I'm glad you did. Thank you, Tarek. I actually have an intern who put together a process in place 2 summers ago, that I still use weekly. So I like to throw them or tell them we're not going to give them a cushy, 3-month paid internship. It's going to be something where you're working, you're learning, and you're contributing to TI's future.
Yeah, I did mention I interned at TI, and I also went back for a full-time role. So the project I interned with was what did come back up to me back when I went to full-time, and I saw how they still keep using it even after I left and came back. And I saw it grow, and to see how it has a larger responsibilities today.
Yeah, so I actually have a question for you guys. So when do y'all think would be the best time to apply for an internship at TI? Would it be like starting like as early as like your sophomore year, or like kind of like later on looking like junior, senior?
Tarek, I'll pass that one to you since you have the internship experience.
Okay. Yeah, so I'd say feel free to start applying sophomore year, because some companies I know keep like a log or kind of record of applying or application statistics, and they see you applying often or chatting or get to know to our TI events like this and many others. Just being present and continuing to be present, that'll help improve your conversation with the recruiter. It is difficult for sophomores to get hired, but it's not impossible. There was a sophomore in my team that was an intern, so it's just harder, but being able to apply as a sophomore can help you prepare for a junior, because just being able to converse, getting that experience, it's all going to build up to help you in the end.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like Tarek said, it's harder for sophomores to get hired, but please don't let that dissuade you, because just because you don't get offered an internship after your sophomore year does not mean that you are, not TI material or anything like that. It means that, like I said, we put you to work, right? So some of the sophomore course loads don't necessarily have the material that you're going to use. So it wouldn't be a beneficial internship for you if you did get that. So like Tarek said, do not hesitate to apply. The more you hear these conversations, these presentations, the more you understand TI as a company, which is only going to help you in these conversations with recruiters. The more you know the TI culture, the more you embrace the TI culture, the more that we want to bring you onto the team, right? So apply every year if you'd like, but please don't let that dissuade you if you don't get an offer your first time applying.
Okay, nice.
Omar, any other questions?
Yeah, I did get also a question. How has y'all's experience been with kind of like everybody moving towards like online, because like COVID and everything that's happened with that. How has it been like working online with like TI?
I'll go ahead and start this one, Tarek. So my role changed quite a bit actually when we went to an online or remote work environment. I tended to travel about twice a month, maybe as high as 3 times a month, visiting the different Raytheon sites across the country. So when we went to an online only remote work environment, it was a big change. I think that TI did a good job of understanding what was necessary. When we did go a full remote environment, they gave us a stipend to kind of get us the equipment we would need at home to do our jobs. They actually have opened up the office in the last maybe 3 months for the sales team. So my team was invited back in June of this year, but I know that some people have been going in. We have labs on site. So there was some on-site work and remote work. But to answer the question about what's it like to work online and remotely, it's like anything else. It's like going to school online. You kind of get used to it. But the only difference is that we are constantly trying to improve that. We've added more third-party groups that we work with to make that easier. We pass on lessons learned and key tips. So like everybody else, it was a learning experience, but I think we've gotten pretty good at it. And then lately, beginning in late October, we'll have a vaccine requirement for TI. So we're expecting to have more on-site work after that is enacted.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give my perspective as well. So as a software engineer, it's not really necessary for me to be at the office. So being remote has been really flexible with me. At home, I have a bunch of those little red launch pads. I like 10 at home. And it's really easy and efficient at home. And I can go into the office whenever I choose to, because sometimes there is some equipment I need to use. But for a majority as a software engineer, I'm mostly at home. And depending on how COVID affects, that could be longer or shorter. But it's been a really flexible. I do know if you're more hardware focused or analog focused, there's more of a requirement for you to come into the office, just because those tools that you have to use are at the office, at the lab. So it depends on the role.
Yeah, keep them coming, guys.
Okay, so another question I got for you is, I know you talked about the rotation program for kind of like new hires earlier. I just wanted to see, was like just for like you personally, like was it like a little hard to adapt to that, or was it kind of just like a smooth transition going from like college into that kind of like rotation program with TI, or just like what was like your personal experience with it?
Tarek, want to start?
Yeah, and so adapting to my role was challenging at first, just because it's just a different level of work from college to industry. But I had a lot of great resources to help me adapt to that. Like I mentioned, if you're an intern, you have a buddy or a mentor figure, and as a full-time, you have your whole team to help you adapt to the role and your manager. So, for example, when I went in, most of my work was heavily high-level software focused. So that's your Python and sometimes your Java. So I didn't know much of Python, though Python is easy to pick up. But I was able to learn it on the job. I learned a lot of skills that I need for on the job during my work at TI. So if you're feeling insecure about your skill set, most of the time you'll learn the skills on the job. You'll ramp up 1 week to a month or so, however you need. And there's no rush. Everyone's really nice to talk to and easy to help you get up to speed. And don't feel like it's nervous to ask questions or to ask around for resources. Everyone's really friendly and happy to help. So the transition process is very nice, very smooth, and you'll be up to speed in no time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to mention too, Tarek, is the open door policy. I have never had anybody say no to me sitting down with them to ask questions. I like to say to our new hires, feel free to embrace the new guy hat, right? You get a number of months where you can ask any questions you want to and learn the role. So don't be shy. Don't feel like you have any questions that feel obvious, but use that time to take advantage of your team members. Omar mentioned the rotation programs. I think that helped a lot. during those rotation programs that are very well understood at TI, people expect you to ask those questions and to learn the role. We want you to be engaging. We want you to be inquisitive and all these things. So when you finish the rotation program or you end your ramp in the software role, you're ready to hit the ground running. So it was I was someone who asked a lot of questions. So for me, I think it was a great time to kind of get relationships developed, but also learn what I'm supposed to be doing in my role.
Okay, nice. I did get a couple more questions from the chat, so I'll just start with the most recent one. So does TI do any work contributing to any of these industries, which are including automobile, environmental, and civil?
The short answer is yes. We not just working with these companies, those are all customers of TI. They'll all have direct TI support. But in addition to that, we have TI employees that sit on the councils and the boards and the overseeing authorities and contribute not just the parts, but the standards. We are actively contributing to the AEQC qualification for automotive. We are part of the green standards for some of the environmental stuff. So we're not just making the parts. We have engineering fellows or technical fellows sitting on the advisory committees that define where this is going next.
Okay. Oh, someone was asking about relocation, and their specific question was they wanted to see, does TI do international relocation? If you guys know.
We do sponsorships for certain roles, not any role, but if you are coming from overseas, good morning or evening, whatever time it is where you are, I would be, we would not, as far as I know, move you from an overseas location to our Dallas office. We would likely hire you at our headquarters in China or one of our European design centers or fabs. But if you are trying to work remotely from overseas as a new college graduate, that is not going to be possible. I would say that I have a few people that delayed their start date by a month or so, and they use that time to travel. Actually, my application engineer who works with me at Raytheon was supposed to start in June, and he pushed it back to July, and he spent those 2 months literally going around the world. So he started going west and went to Japan, kind of went through Asia, came back to Europe, and then kind of went over the Atlantic Ocean. So he, his claim to fame, his trivia fact he likes to say about himself is he has one less day on this earth than everybody else because he kept going west. But yes, I would say get that travel in before you start, because we're not gonna, as a new college graduate, we're not gonna let you sit in the front Riviera and open your laptop.
Yeah, that relocation bonus helps a lot.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're, exactly. So if you're relocating from UT Dallas and you're going to work in our Santa Clara office, TI does give you a stipend to move yourself across the country.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's definitely a very nice incentive. So I think that might be the questions we have from chat for now.
Okay. Tarek, any kind of final words that we forgot about maybe?
I just have some general tips, advice to help improve your recruiting process with TI, for example. Having projects outside of your college classes helps kind of elevate yourself. Also, being a part of different student orgs and clubs like IEEE, for example. Or I know there's a few other engineering-related clubs like the Drone Club and Racing Club. I'm not sure about UTD, but those are offered at my college. So being active in your different clubs or different side projects, and also really expressing yourself in your resumes. So I've been already screened some resumes already, and just some general advice is to make sure it's nicely detailed and organized, and there's a consistent formatting as well. And please bold or kind of like underline specific skills you're proud upon. Like if you're good at UI design, I would bold that, for example. That helps narrow down our focus to key aspects that you want to show off. And please, anything related experience doesn't have to be engineering related if you're going to a technical role. As like I mentioned earlier, those TI values we really advocate. So if you're in a collaborative team or working part of a group project, that's very important on communication initiative front. Please include that. But your engineering projects are priority, but please, if you have space, please include those as well because they will only help you. And yeah, good luck to everyone in this recruiting season.
So there's one or two last questions before I let you guys off. So how is Texas or TI's response against the employers going forward with graduate programs? Do they give, break, or provide any other alternatives? So basically just like grad programs with like TI.
So a couple different options. If you decide to go for a graduate level program and do full time, we can give you an internship as a graduating senior, and you can come back to graduate school after your internship over the summer. We offer some stipend money if the graduate degree is required for your role. So for instance, I'm in sales. If I went back to get a graduate degree in, I don't know, artistry, they wouldn't contribute anything. But if I was a design engineer and I was going back for a master's in EE, they would be able to contribute there. They are not going to let you take your salary and take a year off to get your graduate degree, but they're also very supportive of people doing it at nights, doing longer master's programs. A couple people in our business units do like 3 years master's degree, and their managers are very, very willing to work with them in terms of time management, giving them specific programs, certain deadlines, very supportive of that as well. But in terms of taking a break, I haven't heard anybody say they took a break and had a guaranteed job when they came back. To be fair, I haven't asked that question.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it's really easy to get involved in a graduate program. You have like an application process. I'll help you speed that up. I know a few colleagues that are in a graduate program or finishing up their master's and also working at TI. And like Alex said, your manager is very flexible with you as long as you have that early communication first instead of just jumping on them. But it's very flexible, and some of the managers, a lot of them really motivate you to continue your education because you only gain more skills to help improve your team.
Yeah, okay. That's cool that they like work with you on making that happen. Okay, one last question and then I'm gonna let you guys go. How much of a day is spent working alone as an engineer? Like how often for team versus just solo work?
Yeah, I can start that. I feel like my perspective, it could be more geared to this question. So a lot of our work is collaborative, partner-based or team-based, and you have kind of, as you get started in TI, you have a few months under your belt, you'll be charged of a specific area or expertise. For example, if I was in the part of the wireless connectivity team, maybe I'm in charge of the Zigbee person, but there's other Zigbee people you can branch out and work with and ask questions. So you're never alone, if that makes sense. You can always reach out. There's always someone with more resources, more knowledge than you that you can reach out to that's always willing to help. Mm-hmm. So it's just how you make out to. If you prefer to be alone, that's also fine. If you want to work with a person, ask questions, have a dialogue, everyone's really flexible. You can just put a meeting on their calendar schedule and it should be good to go. It's just don't schedule them during lunch or Friday nights, and you'll be good.
Nice.
Yeah, Tark's gonna be much more experienced in this question. I will say that it's kind of you can make it what you want. So for me, I wouldn't say that I'm doing engineering work behind a desk or at a lab, but sometimes I schedule an hour to kind of just close out action items where I'm intentionally locking a conference room door and working through things myself. but Tarek is going to have the first person insight for this question, so I'll defer to him and what he said.
Yeah. Okay, well, those are all the questions we had for you guys.
Great.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and presenting for everyone.
Absolutely. Looking forward to getting back in person with you guys in the future. And if there's anything else we can come and join you with, please reach out and let us know.
Yeah, and good luck this recruiting season.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night.
All right. You guys as well.